Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to do a small recap of the Sturgis trip. Basically, how did the trip go? How did the gear fare out? What I did right, what I did wrong, what things I would do differently. And yeah, just kind of like break it down for you guys. I'm actually I'm actually not recording this video the way I planned to originally record it. As you can see, there's a different bike behind me. Um, my original intention was to do this with Rogue, and I started the video with Rogue. So now I'm gonna send you back to the initial footage that I have to kick off this video. We're back from Sturgis. I hope you've been watching the videos, and if you did, I hope you enjoyed them. So I figure I'll start the video by just showing you uh, the marks of Sturgis on the bike. So she's pretty nasty. So it's time to give her a wash today, but let me show you the before. You can see how I'm glad for the handguards. All of this was being on my knuckles. It basically catches between this and the mirror, it catches pretty much everything that is not grabbed by the fairing. Now it looks like I need a higher windshield too, because there were things hitting around here. But yeah, she's just flat out nasty. So yeah, we ended up running 4,580 miles on this trip. The last leg was 1750. We did 1750 in 2 days. I did 1,030 the first day, and then the other 720 on the last day. So yeah, I'm gonna give her a wash right now. You don't need to see that. You're seeing millions of bikes being watched. But yeah, I'll give her a clean right now. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna do this video, but we'll talk about what I learned about riding to Sturgis, what I think about the stuff that I took, what I did right, what I did wrong, and hopefully you learned something from that video. So anyway, talk to you later. So a recap of the trip. It was 13 states, 4,580 total miles. We left North Carolina, went through Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Iowa, South Dakota, Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, and Illinois. And then back again, through like West Virginia. But in total, 13 states. It is the longest road trip I've done. It was fun. It was a lot of fun actually. And I got really lucky. Like I got great weather the whole way through. I mean, other than in Indiana, and I mean, you saw that video. Like I got to Indiana with good weather. It was hot as heck that day. Actually, that ride from here to Indiana, it was super hot. And then when I got to Indiana, there was a storm coming that night, so it rained all through the night, and in the morning it was still raining as I left Indianapolis. But then after that, after I got past that storm, it was just clear riding the whole way. And then in South Dakota, I was able to get to Sturgis and get to the house early enough because that night there was a pretty strong storm too, hail and all of that. It was pretty crazy. But I was already safe and sound in the house, luckily. So I was able to beat that one. Things didn't go necessarily as planned. When I planned the trip, my goal was to just haul ass on my way to Sturgis and then take the long way back. But one thing that I didn't take into account is that usually every time I go on a trip, when it's time to come home, I'm just going. It's like I'm on a mission to get home. It's like at that point, I already miss my wife, I miss my bed, I miss my house. I'm done with it, and I just want to get home. So, um, one thing that I would do different is I will trace a long way there, and then see stuff and do things on the way to Sturgis. Because when I'm done with Sturgis, I'm gonna want to haul ass back home. And it's exactly what happened on this trip. Like I had planned the trip there, and I did like 680 miles day one. No, six. It was like 630, 640 day one, and then 680 day two, and then day three I took it a little easier, and it was like 400 and something, and that's where I went to Clockworks, and I got the tour of the facility. That day was kind of like easy and and enjoyable because I didn't do a ton, but at least that tour of Clockworks was something that I've always wanted to go to their facility, um, and I was able to do on this trip. And then coming back, I had already made plans to go uh, meet with some friends in Fort Collins. So I left Sturgis and I went south. And that first day, I can't remember how many miles. It was probably like three something, 370 to under 400 miles, I think, from Sturgis to Fort Collins. I don't think it's 400 miles. Um, that day was hot, man. It was super hot, triple digits, dry. And I mean, I'm used to heat being from the Caribbean, but I'm used to heat and humidity. So if it's hot, like my body's used to sweating, and it was hot and dry. So like you're eliminating water, but you don't see the sweat. And that was rough. Yeah, I got to Colorado. I stayed an extra day there and did some editing and stuff. Met with a friend, went out for dinner, hung out, had a couple beers, and then the next day, I woke up like at 5 in the morning, 4 something, I think, and I left the hotel at 5, and I had no plans that day. Like it was like I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go, you know. And when I get tired, I'll get a hotel. That was a mistake. That was a mistake, um, because while I didn't have a plan to do 1,000 miles that day, and I'm glad that I did, right? If you're even considering the possibility of doing 1,000 miles, you need to have a hotel picked out at that point. Because one thing that happened was I was feeling good, and I go check out that video, the 1,000 mile ride. Um, I was feeling good, and I was documenting like on the gas stop, like how many miles I was doing and how I was feeling. I was feeling good all the way to like 700 and something. I was still fresh. And I'll go into why I think that was the case in a couple of minutes. But um I was feeling good up till like the 700 and something, and then I stopped for gas, and I was like at 910 miles, and I was tired, and it was dark. But at that point, it was like, yeah, I'm at 900 and something. I can do like 90 extra miles and do the 1,000, and at least check that off the box, like I did 1,000 miles in a day. But the problem is, when I left that gas station, I went through an area where there was nothing. So I did the 90 miles, and then I couldn't find a freaking hotel. And it was getting kind of gnarly because there were no hotels, and there were no gas stations either. Like I can't remember the name of the road, like the highway I was on at the time. During edits, I'll check it out and I'll put it here if I can find it. But there was nothing, like freaking nothing. So the 90 miles were not a problem, but The next 30 to find the hotel, those those really hurt. Like my seeing your gas gauge go down, your freaking tire is pitch black. Like I tried to record a couple times, and if you look at that 1,000 mile video, you'll see that I think I only put like 2 clips of what I recorded from the last gas stop to the hotel because the cameras were not catching anything. Like it was so dark. One thing though, the Shark Demon lights that I had on Rogue, they did a great job. Like I could see the road, the cameras just couldn't catch anything. Um, so that's one thing that I would do different. Like if I even have the slightest plan or thought of maybe trying to do 1,000 miles, um, I will definitely get an ending point and at least put a hotel, even if I don't do a reservation at the time, just to know, or at least just scan the road to see, yeah, 1,000 miles is around here. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to go this far for a hotel. Because have I known that, I probably would have stopped before, because again, like I didn't document the trip like I would if I was doing an iron butt. I didn't really take receipts or take pictures of the receipts with the mileage like you're supposed to when you're documenting for an iron butt. So it was merely just doing 1,000 miles, just one to get home fast and two to kind of say that I did it, which is fine. But I think I'm gonna try that again, and I'm gonna do it the right way this time. It was 1,030 on from Fort Collins, Colorado, to whatever the name of that town is. I'll put it in caps here. Um, in Illinois, and then 720 from that town to my house. Um, the next day. So it was 1750 on the last 2 days. And when I got here, I was tired, but I was okay. Like it's not like I was completely destroyed or anything. I think a big part of me being fresh, riding that many miles, was really the CamelBak. Like this was a game changer, and it's something that whenever I go long distances, I I'm gonna use it on one way or another. Like you can I'm gonna also try putting the water bag maybe on the tank bag to see, if that will work too. Cause I mean it was very convenient to have the hose hanging over my shoulder because I could just grab it and take a drink whenever I wanted. Um but during the trip from Sturgis to Fort Collins, it was freaking triple digits. It was super hot. And the water on the line was getting nasty, like hot. Not warm, but like nasty hot because it was so hot. So I will have to throw away water and then drink because it was just nasty to drink it. Like I don't like drinking hot water. Um so maybe if I had that bag on the tank bag instead of on my back, maybe the water on the line would not have been that hot. So I might try that one time and I'll let you guys know. But definitely, if you're doing long distance travel, having that with you, being able to drink water as you're going makes all the difference. Because I found that if when I go and I stop for gas and drink water, there's only so much water that you can drink, that you can chug down. At least for me, like I can chug down a significant amount of water. But then what happens is when I drink that much water in one shot, then in like 30 minutes I gotta go and pee, you know. But drinking while I was riding, I was able to hold off to use the restrooms when I got gas. So I was able to ride longer and stay fresher. because I was hydrated. And I noticed that, like, when you're dehydrated, you notice that your urine is like darker, and that was good. So I was well hydrated. And then what I was doing is, on the gas stations, I will take I will take my jetty, which was full of ice, and I will dump it on the CamelBak. And then I will go get more ice and buy another bottle of water, and then fill up the CamelBak and fill up the jetty. The tank pack proved to be very useful. Like, this thing, just being there, I had my drone and I had the carrier for the mic here with the second mic, which I had a couple challenges with it that I'll tell you about in a few. Then I also had this battery pack with me. So I could, if I saw something that I wanted to record from the air, I could throw the drone, record, and then put it back, and then plug it onto this and have it charging as I'm riding, because this battery pack was great. Uh, Here I had the batteries for the camera, so it was the same. Like, I will ride, record, and then once I saw that the battery was getting low, then on a gas stop, I will change. I have two batteries here. I will change the battery on the camera on the helmet and on the other camera that was on the handlebars, and I will put the two decharged batteries here and plug them to the battery charger and just have them charging. Also, having snacks right here was very, very useful. You know, as you're going, I could just eat something while I stop without having to go and buy something, and I could eat even as I was riding. So it was very, very handy. When I did the video before the Sturgis trip, and I introduced that tank bag, I had people, I can't remember who you were, but thank you for for making the comment and giving the recommendation. I had somebody that said that they had used a tank bag with magnets, and then during rain, um, with the water and the dirt going in and the vibration, it had messed their tank. So one thing that I did was, the day that it rained, I took the tank bag off and put it on a saddlebag, and I didn't have it in the tank. I only put the tank bag on the tank when the tank was clean. So once I got to Sturgis, I washed the bike, and then I had a instant detailer that is done for ceramic coating, so it leaves a nice coat of protectant. So I will make sure that every day that I use the tank bag, I clean the tank, I wash the tank, and I applied a light coat of Insta detailing on the tank every day. So whenever I put it on the tank and the bag were clean. And when I came back from the trip, I checked the tank of Rogue, and there were no marks from this. The only mark that was there was from when I dropped the camera. Like, I dropped the camera and it hit the freaking tank, and it made a small spot where the paint chipped away, which pissed me off. But I mean, this part of content creation, I guess. I'll be more careful with this one. So yeah, the tank bag, the camel back, the water. Oh yeah, the mic mini. How did they fare out? They did great. They did a great job. They recorded well. Um, the battery life really is about 6 to 8 hours, depending on how much you record, if you leave them on like I do. Because there's a thing that if you have them, there's a feature that if you have them to shut off by themselves, they will turn off, and then you have to manually turn them on, which I don't like. So I turned off that feature so that they stay on the whole time. So every time I turn the camera on, they automatically connect to the camera. and I don't have to worry about turning on and turning off the mic inside the helmet. But the downside of that is that the mic is on the whole time. So when you're doing 15, 16, 17, 18-hour days like I did, then the mic's gonna die. It's just inevitable. So one thing that I started doing was on gas stops, I will go and put it inside the charging case and put them in the bag. But that got old, and I will forget at times, which is why you saw in some of the stops, I would just lift my helmet and talk to the camera on the handlebar because it just became easier. So those are little things that I have to tweak. Oh, the Cardo. Same thing with the Cardo. The Cardo, I think continuous use, I was getting maybe like 10 hours of consistent use, you know, because I listen to music as I'm riding. I don't make phone calls really. I haven't. Um, There'll probably be an emergency situation at some point when I might have to, but so far I use it just to listen to music, and music is going the whole time I'm riding until I stop. So not every time I remember to like turn it off when I stop for gas. And there were a couple days that it died at the end of the day. Um, so yeah, that I'll have to manage it a little bit better. Maybe using the battery pack and putting it to charge while I'm gassing up or stuff like that. Again, and I, I wish I have completed this video when Rogue was still here. Rogue was set up perfect for that trip. Like that bike was set up perfect. That's the plan for this one. I'm gonna set it up similar to that one just because it fits me. But I tell you guys, like Bad Boy Cycles, that seat, the Freedom Series on that bike, it was amazing. I would not have been able to do 1,000 miles on one day if it wasn't for that seat. Now, clearly, the suspension upgrades, having Legend suspensions front and back, help a ton. Having the right riding triangle helped a ton. Having those drag bars, the way I like them, tight in just below my shoulders, and having the boards large enough that I could shift my feet around and all of that. It's just made a great difference. But the seat, I would not have been able to do 1,000 miles if it wasn't for that seat. So, and I'll show you that later, but in here, there's another Bad Boy Cycle seat. When it was time for another seat, I went with Bad Boy Cycles again. So, but I'll show you guys that seat on a later video when I show you the other stuff that I'm doing to the bike. Um, so anyway, handlebar setup on point, footboards on point, seat on point, suspension on point. Bike ran like a champ. It ran, it ran amazing, like, which made it difficult to sell it. To be honest with you, it made it difficult to let her go to get this one, but we move on. When I do this again, right? I will take my CamelBak again. I will take the tank bag again for sure. Game changers. I always go with water. Oh, I had the trauma kit, which luckily I was blessed to not have to use it, but it gave me peace of mind having it there. Same with the air pump I had to use. The air pump I had to use. Like when I rode from, I don't know if it was because I went from such hot temperatures going through from South Dakota, Wyoming, then Colorado, Kansas City, that by the time I got to Illinois on that 1,000-mile trip, both of my tires, the pressure on both of my tires was low. So in the morning before taking off, coming home, I had to uh, put more air on the tires. I checked them, there were no holes, so I didn't have to patch anything. But the the tire pressure did go down significantly, like a couple psi's, like 5 to 7 psi's. Um, so I don't know why. I guess that happens with stretching of the tire or something. But another reason to always have an air pump on your saddlebag, because you don't want to run with low pressure on your tires. You can have a tank slapper. You can have some issues. So I still have to find a balance between content creation and enjoying the trip. And I guess the more I do it, the better I'll get at it. Um, I found that I didn't record as much as I wanted to record, and I found myself stressing out about recording a little bit too much, you know. So I think that's just a me thing, like something that I just have to learn, and you'll come with doing this more often. Like this was the first time that I actually went on a trip this long, and it was also the first time that I tried to document a trip like this, which takes me to the other thing. Like I wanted to write, record, and edit to then document the trip daily or every 2 days. That proved to be way too much. Like after you ride, I can do that if I do 2 to 300 miles. If I do 2 to 300 miles in a day, then I can probably get to the hotel, have still like 5 hours before going to sleep to do video edits. Because believe it or not, editing video takes a very long time. Again, like trying to do too much is something that I definitely need to be more conscious about. But you live, you learn, right? The other thing, doing this trip alone was probably the best thing I did for me. I don't know, for other people might be different, but riding, making this trip alone was fantastic for me because I didn't have to run anything by anyone. Like the ride there, I had the hotels already reserved. But then on the ride back, I decided I was just going to go and I didn't have to ask anybody. I left Sturgis a day earlier than I had planned to. Had I been with a big group of people going there and coming back, I may have not been able to do that, or I probably would have to just leave them behind. Which, I mean, I wouldn't be upset if somebody decides to leave early. So I don't see why it would be a problem for me to leave early. But it's not something I really like to deal with. So I'm excited. I'm excited about the next one. Um, the next one, the next big one is going to be the coast to coast. I don't know if I'll hit Sturgis next year. I will go again for sure, but I'm just not sure if I'll do it next year just because of logistics. If I do a coast to coast, then Sturgis might not fit unless I do the coast to coast and fit Sturgis along the way, which is a possibility. Um, so we'll see more on that later. That's pretty much the recap of the trip. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. 13 states, 4,580 miles. By far the longest trip I've done. My heart's a little split that Rogue's no longer here. I love that. I'm really happy to have Leia on the channel, but I'm gonna miss Rogue. But I think it was a fitting end to the relationship with that bike, right? Like the last video, well, the last video featuring that bike is this video with that small clip that you guys already saw. But the last big riding feature of that bike was a 1,000 mile day, which I think was very fitting because it's the first bike I used to cross state lines, you know. So it was doing a 4,500 plus mile trip on her to send her off, and then closing everything up with a 1,000 day, at 1,000 mile day was very fitting. So that does it. That does it for this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like the content, consider subscribing. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And then I'm gonna play with this thing. I'm doing ceramic coating on the bike. I still gotta do ceramic coating on the wheels. If you wanna see some of that stuff, let me know in the comments. It's not stuff that I usually document, but if you guys wanna know a little bit about ceramic coating, let me know in the comments. And I'll drop I'll drop a short video or something about that. It's not something that you should be intimidated about doing. I don't think. So anyway, if you want to know about it, let me know in the comments. So thank you for your support. Thank you for stopping by. Love you guys. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.